Yo guys, what's going on? It's Lil Dove here, back with another video. So this is more of a different video, but today I'm going to be doing my March Madness bracket. It's March Madness time, and I'm here to do it. So first pick, I have notes here. I have my bracket here. Shoot, may I mess that up? But okay, I think it's messed up, but it doesn't matter. First pick, I'm gonna go with Gonzaga. Easy, not much thought to it there. Second pick, I'm gonna go Oklahoma. I think it's gonna be a good game versus Missouri. I can't really see Missouri beating Oklahoma. Oklahoma didn't have a great finish to the season, but I mean Missouri, like I don't know. My next pick is gonna be Creighton over UC Santa Barbara. I don't know much about UC Santa Barbara, but I do know that Creighton is really not that good. They do have a top 10 defense, and UC Santa Barbara hasn't really played anybody that good. So I think Creighton's going to be able to come out with the win. The next pick, I'm mixed in between because Virginia isn't going to get to the tournament until about Friday, and a lot of people tend to underrate Ohio. But regardless to say, I still think Virginia can definitely beat Ohio. Next pick is one that I really don't know much about, but I picked USC over Wichita, Virginia. I know a lot of people have Wichita or Drake beating USC, but I just really don't know. I'm pretty sure that Wichita State's going to win this game. I know they're going to give USC a hard run, but Evan Mobley, he's one of the most talented players, so I think he can win. And then next pick is Kansas. I mean, it's kind of an obvious one here. I don't know much about Eastern Washington Eagles. Next pick is Oregon. I know a lot of people have Oregon losing to VCU, but Oregon is a great team. I mean, Pac-12, I feel like I'm always underrating the Pac-12 team. Great three-point shooting team. The only thing is they don't really have any big wins, but I mean, neither does VCU. The only thing, VCU is really good at turnovers, which I think could give Oregon a hard time. Next pick, I'm definitely going to go Iowa. That one's pretty easy. Don't know much about Grand Canyon. I think it could be a pretty close game. Let's move on this side of the bracket. This game, I'm going to pick Michigan. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Next pick, St. Adventure Bonneville. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it right. I think they're going to pull off the upset and beat LSU. I just don't think LSU is that good. They shouldn't have gotten an 8th seed. They just won the tournament. But, I mean, Cameron Thomas, it's hard to beat him. I have trust in St. Bonneville. They have great starters, and they have a pretty good shooting team, but they have a great defense. They play like they kind of play at a slow tempo, though. Next, I have Colorado over Georgetown. Now, I'm looking at some of my notes here. 61% of people picked Georgetown to win. I just don't really get it. Georgetown isn't talented. They have a terrible turnover percentage, and they shoot pretty bad inside. I think Colorado is going to be able to, I don't know what it said. I think Colorado is going to be able to capitalize on a lot of their turnovers, and they have a great free throw shooting team, so that could get them some trouble later in the game. Next, I have FSU against UNC Greensboro. I'm not really going to talk about this game because I don't know about UNC Greensboro. I really like FSU in this tournament. In this tournament, though. They're the tallest team in the country. Scotty Barnes. They do sometimes fall apart on defense, which is the only thing I'm worried about. I haven't really picked any upsets so far, but here's one. A lot of people have this too. I'm picking Michigan State or UCLA against BYU. I think UCLA is going to win. They have a very talented team. UCLA is great at, putting up numbers on offense, solid rebounding team. I just don't know too much about BYU. I know that they have a huge giant guy, seems like Matt something, but not great turnover battle. And UCLA is able to get a lot of turnovers. Next, a most controversial pick. I would say this is probably the most controversial pick I have, but I'm going to take Albany Christian over Texas. Here's why. Albany Christian forces the most turnovers in the country. Basically, it's just ACU basically just forces more turnovers than everyone. Steals. Texas gets in trouble in the turnover. They have very bad turnover numbers. Free throw attempts aren't that great. They allow a lot of free throw attempts, but they do have really good athleticism. They're kind of like a bunch of Giannis's. But I think Albany Christian can pull off the win. The only thing is that Albany Christian is not good at fouling, but neither is Texas. And the offense doesn't have a lot of great guys. But nonetheless, I think Albany Christian is going to be able to pull off the win in the turnover battle. Next is about a 50-50 game. I'm going to have UConn winning this one. I don't know a lot about Maryland. I just think UConn has deeper runs in the tournament. And, I mean, I'm looking over the stats here. Maryland really doesn't have a lot of great people. Perimeter defense isn't good, doesn't create second chance opportunities. See, those are the little things that's going to lose to big Connecticut. They have great rebounding on UConn, one of the best rebounding teams I've ever seen. Next, Maryland versus Alabama versus Iowa. I'm picking Alabama in this one. I don't really know what to say. I don't know much about Iowa. I got to go a little bit quicker. Gonzaga winning this one. I mean, it's obvious Gonzaga is one of the best teams in the country, but I'm definitely going to have Gonzaga beating Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a good team. Their defense isn't great. Gonzaga scores about 95 points a game. This is pretty self-explanatory. Next, Creighton versus Virginia. I would love to have Creighton in this game, but Virginia's going to pull off the win. I think the Virginia against Ohio game is going to be closer than this game. Creighton isn't a great team. I mean, they don't have anybody. I'm going to pick Virginia. Next, I'm going to have Kansas beating USC. Now, I said this before, Kansas is one of those great teams. They never got to really show what they were made of, but I think they're going to lead in the tournament. Marcus Garrett, great defensive team. Next pick, also a controversial pick, Oregon over Iowa. I love this Oregon team this year. Again, I've said I've underrated the Pacific. Great three-point shooting team. I mean, Iowa probably does have one of the best offenses in the league, and they have Luka Garza, but the defense is a little bit of concern. I think if Oregon gets hot, they can definitely win this game. Next, I'm going to go to the bracket again. I don't really know too much. I'm just going to have Michigan winning this game, and it's 1 versus 9 seed. I guess Michigan doesn't have the guard, though, but nonetheless. Florida State over Colorado. I think this is going to be a closer game than people think. But, I mean, again, Florida State, tallest team in the country. Colorado is a pretty good team. I would not be surprised if Colorado won and beat Michigan. The next one is MSU or UCLA versus Albany Christian. As much as I would love to see Albany Christian win, I mean, I'm going to pick. It depends which team wins, though. Because, they're going to say MSU gets a lot of fouls per game and doesn't have great shooters. So if Albany Christian can kind of fluster them, but I think if UCLA wins, then they could easily beat Albany Christian. I do think UCLA will win. And then the next one, I mean, in some of my brackets, I have UConn against Alabama. I'm just going to take Alabama in this one, though. Alabama's not a traditional March Madness team, but I'm still taking them. Next, I'm going to have Gonzaga over Virginia. It's Virginia's time to be over. They don't have a good points per game. They have an okay field goal percentage. But I think after two pretty close games, I think they're just going to be tired out. Gonzaga's going to be able to beat because Gonzaga has a super easy schedule. I mean, you look at this, Norfolk Appalachians, or they either play Oklahoma or Missouri. Like, that's two easy games. Gonzaga's going to be fully rested. I believe that Gonzaga will win that game. Next is Kansas versus Oregon. It's Oregon's time to be done. I'm having a 3 seed over the 7 seed. Kansas, again, is one of those teams. I've underrated Oregon a little bit in the past tournaments, but, I mean, Kansas is going to win this one. They're going to show Marcus Garrett, and I do think one of the problems if Oregon gets their three-point shooting, Garrett's having an off game, that's going to be a pretty good win for Oregon. But I still have Kansas winning. Next, Michigan versus Florida State. Also another controversial pick. I have Florida State. Michigan doesn't have their guard. I'm blanking on his name right now. You guys are probably spamming in the comments what his name is. But Florida State, yeah, it's a great team. tallest team in the country. It is tough to score against Michigan in the paint. That is a problem. Scotty Barnes, too. I think FSU capitalizes on a lot of Michigan's mistakes. They very rarely force turnovers, though, which is pretty good for Michigan. I mean, pretty good for FSU. So they're not going to get really flustered during the game. I think they can come back calm and focused. Next is UCLA, that team versus Alabama. I have Alabama winning. It's time for UCLA to go down. Alabama's going to beat them. I'll probably just go up, finish this side. As much as I love Kansas, I'm going to have Gonzaga winning this one. I really don't like to say this. I think Gonzaga is a very boring pick. Most efficient deep offense in the country. I think this is going to be a close game. Kansas has a great defense, but a big weakness for Gonzaga is they let up teams score a lot of points. But I don't know. There's not really much about them that is not good. I'm going to have Gonzaga beating Kansas. I think, though, Kansas isn't a great shooting team. That's why I think this game could be close. But next, I'm going to have Florida State making my Final Four. I know Florida State isn't that good this year, but, I mean, Alabama, they've never really been that good in the tournament. I think they're going to get exposed. They can shoot the three ball. Probably one of the best three-ball shooting teams in this tournament, but I mean, the amount of turnovers that they commit is just sad. I've watched one of their games, and it is not fun to watch. The ball is all over the place. Everybody has one of those bags that give you at the grocery store in their hands trying to dribble. It's not very good. The live ball turnovers, too. A bunch of ads down there. I got to shorten this up a little bit because it's already been 11 minutes, and we've only done half of it. But, yeah, Florida State's going to be winning that one. And then for me, as much as I love to see Florida State keep going, Gonzaga's going to win. I mean, this is Florida State's time to go. Gonzaga, most efficient offense in the country. Florida doesn't have a great defense. They have an okay defense, but I think one of the part of Florida State is that once they start losing, they really have just lost and don't know what to do. So I think Gonzaga can win early, can start early in the game, start off, be very good, and then keep winning. Sorry, my computer's just being a little glitchy. But next we're going to move on to the other side of the bracket. Baylor against Hartford. I actually think this is going to be a very, very close game. Hartford's strengths are right where Baylor's weaknesses are. They can make it rain three-pointers. They have good defensive numbers, and they put up a decent fight against good teams. They are a little bit undersized, though, and they shoot a lot of threes at not great percentages, so I'm definitely going to have Baylor winning that one. And then next one, I'm going to have Wisconsin winning against North Carolina. I definitely think North Carolina shouldn't have even gotten into the tournament. It should have been Duke easily. That was bad. East Carolina also should have made it. But Wisconsin, they never turn it over. I've never seen Wisconsin turn it over in the entire world. They defend at a good, slow tempo. The only problem is their rebounding and they're in the paint. I think that could be a problem. So if North Carolina can get ahead of them early in the paint, I think they can definitely win the game. But I'm going to have Wisconsin taking them on. Next is a game that a lot of people have Winthrop winning. I just don't get it. I really don't know enough about this Winthrop team. I've been trying to do some like that. I've been trying to do some research on them. All I know is that they play really at a fast pace. I mean, they're a quick, just like that team. They're very good at rebounding. But Villanova doesn't cough up the ball. They make a lot of 3 points in the game. And Winthrop, they never played anybody good. Villanova is the exact opposite. So I'm going to have Villanova winning that one. I haven't had a 5-12 upset yet. But next game, I'm going to Purdue against North Texas. I think I've heard some people actually have North Texas win. The only problem is Purdue doesn't have a great offense. North Texas really doesn't have I'm looking at the points per game. 71.5 in Conference USA. I mean, I've never heard of it. I have Purdue easily taking this one over. Trayvon Williams. Nobody's going to be able to stop him. North Texas is a little sloppy. I just don't really know much about North Texas. And then in the next game, Texas Tech versus Utah State. I'm going to have Texas Tech winning this one. Texas Tech doesn't have a great offense, but Utah State has a great rebounding team. Texas Tech doesn't commit a lot of turnovers, but they also draw fouls great. The only problem is Utah State is insane in the paint. That's the only thing I'm worried about for Texas Tech, because that is not a big part of their game. They also don't shoot very well, but I just don't know too much about this Utah State team to put them winning over Texas Tech. Now, again, I'm going to have Arkansas against, I just don't know anything about Colgate. I know they're in the Patriot League. I know that they're insane at shooting, and I know that they're named after a toothpaste brand. That's really all I know. I think Arkansas is just going to kill them. I mean, almost unbeaten at full strength. I don't think they're going to beat them by a ton, but I think they are going to beat them. Well-rounded athletic team. Definitely I'm going to have Arkansas winning this one. Next one, Florida versus Virginia Tech. No way. Trey Mann, no one can stop him. I don't know a lot about Virginia Tech this year, but great. I mean, Florida's just all around great players. Florida's also had great wins against Tennessee, LSU, and West Virginia. It's the top teams they played against. I think this game could be pretty good. They are prone to shooting themselves in the foot with fouls and turnovers. This is what it says on the thingamajiggy. I don't really know what that means. Virginia Tech, don't know too much about them. I'm going to have Florida taking home that one. Next is Ohio State versus Oral Roberts. I do love Oral Roberts' mascot. I think they're a great team. They're in the Summit League, but no, I'm going to have Ohio State winning against them. Next is Illinois versus Drexel. Drexel was like number 6 in the Colonial Conference and still won. I don't know. Illinois is a great team. They have the best inside-out duo in the country, and they always win the rebounding battle. And Drexel, I have heard, is a good free-throw shooting team, but, I mean, it's Drexel. I don't know. They're not going to win. Next is Loyola Chicago versus Georgia Tech. I put Georgia Tech winning. I think this is a 50-50 game. Could go up. I don't think history is going to repeat itself. I do think it doesn't really matter. Either one of these teams is going to lose to Illinois. But, Loyola Chicago does have pretty good, accurate offense, and they have the Cameron Kurtwig guy. I pronounced that wrong, definitely. But Georgia Tech is great. Moses Wright. They have a dominate the turnover battle, and they have a well-experienced team. But they have a terrible three-point defense. I still think that they can beat Georgia Tech because the Loyola Chicago doesn't really take advantage of the three-pointers. I don't think, Loyola's not going to catch anybody, surprise. Next, I'm going to have Tennessee over Oregon State. I know, I don't have any 5-12 upsets. I just don't think any of them are that good. I mean, this one, Georgetown versus Colorado is good. A lot of people have UC Santa Barbara beating Creighton. I don't know too much about the 12 seeds. But definitely for Tennessee, top 10 defense for efficiency in NCAA. But Oregon State is coming off against the hot end of the season, and they are insane at three-point shots. But I mean, what was I gonna say? Tennessee, I saw them beat Kansas. I think Tennessee can easily beat Oregon State. I think it's gonna be a close game though. Next is OSU versus Liberty. Cade Cunningham, all I gotta say. My brother said that Liberty's gonna give them for a run for their money. Nuh-uh. And this says that Cade's cast is better and deeper than you think. I totally agree with that. I've seen some OSU highlights, and they've got players that can really ball. I think OSU takes the win in this one against Liberty. Next is San Diego State versus Syracuse. Their Syracuse defense is amazing. I don't know anything about San Diego State. It says they're stingy on defense, and they're a very great shooting team. They have good, experience. But Syracuse is, I think it's 2-3 defense. We actually ran that defense, my team this year, my basketball team. Great small thing. Syracuse focuses on the details. They were going to beat San Diego State just because I don't know anything about San Diego State. They do take a lot of threes, which is pretty good when you're playing a defense like Syracuse's, but they don't make a ton. So I'm going to have Syracuse winning this one. Now the next one, West Virginia versus Morehead Valley Eagles. This is the greatest mascot I've ever seen, but West Virginia is going to win this one. Next is Clemson versus the Rutgers. A lot of people have the, whatchamacallit? Oh, I'm blanking on the name. A lot of people have the Rutgers winning. What's the lowest seed? I forget. I just don't know too much about them. I know Clemson, they have great three-point shooters, and they generally don't shoot it very well. But, I mean, Miles Johnson is a pretty good player. They do average a ton of steals per game, but they don't have good three-point shooting team, and you need that in the NCAA tournament. Next, Houston against Cleveland State Vikings. Also great logo. I gotta go with Houston. I mean, they're top 5s in blocks, steals, 3-point D, and 2-point D. I think this is a top 3 defense in the country. We're also talking about offensive rebounding, best offensive rebounding team in the country right now. I'm saying that right now. Better than a team in 2019. They aren't great at shooting, and they foul a lot. I mean, a lot. They did lose to East Carolina, but, I mean, East Carolina is so good that you can't beat them, except for the 11 losses they had. But, I mean, we're just going to ignore that. East Carolina is just so good. They don't know East Carolina's powers. I mean, you guys know it's one of my favorite teams. Baylor against Wisconsin. It's Wisconsin's time to end. I don't really know too much about Wisconsin. I think they're a pretty good team, but Baylor, of course, is going to win their 1 seed. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a stingy game. Next one is Villanova versus Purdue. Now, again, I think Villanova's good offense could beat Purdue's okay offense. But, I mean, Trayvon Williams, I don't see Villanova winning this one. They barely won against Winthrop. They're not going to be rested. But, I mean, they have have a pretty good three-point shooting team, but I think Purdue's going to win. Next is Texas Tech versus Arkansas. I'm going to have Arkansas, winning this game. This is going to be a close game, but I mean at full strength, I think they can beat Texas Tech. Texas Tech, you haven't seen them win against a lot of teams. They don't shoot very well, which is something you need. And I'm going to have Arkansas winning this one. Next is Florida State versus Ohio. Now, I was thinking my bracket doesn't have a lot of upsets. Florida beats Ohio. I'm calling it. Trey Mann, I mean, Ohio State's basically just a bunch of bees. I think I've heard that someone explained that. They just attack. They're all huddled in together and just relentless. I can't talk right now. This video is like 20 minutes long. But I think they can struggle on defense. Trey Mann take advantage of that. They have a great shot blocking unit. But fouls and turnovers, I mean, it's not great, which is why Oklahoma State can blitz them, on defense. But I think Florida's taking home this one. I just have a feeling. Next game, Illinois versus Georgia Tech. I'm going to have Illinois winning this one. I mean, they're the number 1 ranked team. They have a great rebounding battle. I mean, Georgia Tech is going to win the turnover battle in any single game they play. But Illinois doesn't force a lot of turnovers. I think this could be a close game, but I'm going to have Illinois winning this one. Next is Tennessee versus OSU. Cade Cunningham. All I'm going to say, Tennessee doesn't have anyone that can really stop them. They do have a great defense, though. That's the only problem. But they don't have great field goal percentage, and I'm going to take OSU in this one. Next is Syracuse versus Virginia. I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people think. But I'm going to have West Virginia winning this one. I just don't know. This one's going to be so close. I'm going to take West Virginia in this one. Just because, I mean, Syracuse isn't great at rebounding. But West Virginia isn't very good at defense. They often do dig themselves into holes. But, I mean, I think Syracuse can get tired and they're going to be able to come back. Because Syracuse's defense requires a lot of energy and effort. This one, I have Houston winning against Clemson. Clemson, they're not a great team. I don't think they're going to be able to beat Houston. I think they're pretty overrated. Next, I'm going to have Baylor over Purdue. Great offense versus a not-so-great offense. I think it's pretty simple. Next is Arkansas versus Florida. It's Florida's time to end. I'm going to take Arkansas. I have a 1-3. 1-3. Do I have a 1-3 over here? No, I have a 4-2. Okay. But I'm going to have Arkansas. I'm going to have Baylor winning this one. I think I might have said Arkansas by accident. I'm going to take Baylor in this one. Oh, wait, no. Wrong game. Can I undo that? I had Baylor winning anyways. But I'm going to take Arkansas in this one. This video is already like 30 minutes long. But I'm going to take Baylor. I'm going to take Arkansas in this one just because I think Trey Mann he's going to be tired. Unbeaten at full strength, basically. Arkansas, I think they've had a pretty easy schedule. I mean, Colgate should be pretty easy. Texas Tech is going to be a hard game, but I think they're going to be able to beat Florida. I do think Baylor is going to win. I think I probably spoiled that for all of you guys. Baylor, I think they're going to beat Arkansas. I mean, Baylor doesn't have a tough schedule. That doesn't have a particularly tough schedule, but the offense against Arkansas, I think Arkansas is a little bit overrated, but I do think they're a great enough team to make the Elite Eight. Next is Illinois versus OSU. Guys aren't going to like this pick. Oklahoma State. Cade Cunningham. They come back from the win. Cade Cunningham doesn't get tired. That's impossible. Great offense. Another one of those things is that they don't have a lot of great perimeter options. They don't have a lot of dominant bigs, but I got a feeling here. And, I mean, neither of them are good at turnovers. Illinois doesn't force a lot of turnovers. OSU can get in trouble with turnovers. But, I think they are pretty good. OSU beat some pretty good teams. Next, that's kind of a lot of people have Illinois winning. I just don't really like them a lot. I think guys like Donsmu and Cockburn, I think that's what their names are. I might have pronounced them wrong. I forget, but anyways, those guys can either do really good or really bad. I think this is one of the games where they struggle against Cade Cunningham. They struggle to beat him. Cade Cunningham takes it home in this one. Houston's going to take it home in this one too, I believe. I mean, West Virginia, Houston's great. They can take over aggressive D. I think if Houston doesn't get a lot of fouls in the beginning, they can definitely take over this team. And West Virginia's defense is not great, and they set up for West Virginia doesn't take a lot of threes, not enough to beat Houston. Houston also has great offensive rebounding. So without their great shooting percentages, I think Houston can definitely take home the win in this game. Next, Baylor versus Arkansas. I already explained that one. I have Baylor winning. Next, I'm going to have Houston beating OSU. This is going to be a very close game, but Cade Cunningham against this defense is going to be tough. Again, painfully prone for turnovers, OSU. I think if Houston has a great defense and they don't commit fouls, they can win this one. Although, if the momentum does shift in Houston and not in Houston's favor, then that's not going to be good. They can easily lose that game. But I think Houston's going to beat them. Next is the Final Four games. So I already had Gonzaga winning against Florida State. Now this one's close. A lot of people overrate Houston. Baylor versus Houston. Close game. Baylor has probably one of the best offenses in the league. They're both so good at first numbers. They're such similar teams, except offensive rebounding. I think that's going to be a big one. I mean, both of these guys are probably the top two best offensive rebounding teams. Their weaknesses are about the same. I think Houston edged them out in this one. Baylor has not so great team-wide free throw percentages, so Houston's fouls really wouldn't be that bad. I think free throws can lose games. I think Houston takes the win in this one. Now this is the championship. Gonzaga versus Houston. Give me a second to think about my championship. Who do you think I'm going to pick? I'm not going to say it so far. Gonzaga, best offense in the country. Houston, top defense in the country. Gonzaga, allows a lot of points per game. Houston fouls a lot. Gonzaga, every single person on the team is stars. Houston, underrated. Gonzaga, a lot of their games have been really close scores. Houston, they don't have great shooting. Houston, great offensive rebounding. I think if Houston can slow them down, Houston takes home the national title. Your national NCAA champions, Houston Cougars. Yeah. Tiebreaker, I'm not great at picking the scores, but I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to go 81 2. Oh, wait, no, that's the winning score. Okay, they're going to have... Houston doesn't score a lot, but I think they're going to 86 to 81. Boom. Final winner. Don't know if I should. I'm just going to submit them. Practice is complete, but not save. Click submit to save it. Houston winning. Take a look at my bracket, everyone. Feast your eyes. Final four: Baylor, Houston, Gonzaga, Florida State. I have this bracket a lot of time. I'm picking Houston for the bracket winners. Let me know if you guys like this video. This is more of a podcast video. I think I might be able to post on like Spotify or something. I don't know, one of those podcast things. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for sticking around for this long video. I don't usually do videos this long. But when it's topic of NCAA March Madness, it can get pretty long. So thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one. So bye.